Last week, during the President's Healthcare Summit at Blair House, Americans got to witness something truly horrifying: 7 straight hours of politicians talking. And we thought this administration was against torture. Needless to say, this parade of irritation was led by none other than America's scold-in-chief, President Obama. Over the course of those 7 hours, which none of us can ever get back, the president's arrogance was on full display. He had an annoying habit of telling members of Congress which issues he considered legitimate. He referred to the assembled members of the legislative branch by their first names, even as they clung to protocol and addressed him as Mr. President. And he even rudely tried to cut John McCain off by reminding him that the election is over. All this points to a president whose ego knows no bounds. But we should have seen this coming. This is a man, after all, who has written 2 books wholly about himself. This is a man whose set design at the Democratic National Convention looked like it was arranged for the arrival of Zeus. And this is a man whose wife memorably said on the campaign trail, "Barack will never allow you to go back to your lives as usual." If only we had taken her warning at the time. Unfortunately, President Obama's arrogance isn't just limited to annoying sound bites on the evening news. It has real consequences for how each of us lives. That is because on issue after issue, Obama and his liberal allies think they know how to run our lives better than we do. Look at the major issues of the last year. The stimulus bill was built around the notion that the only way to save the economy was to let politicians hand out $250 billion to their favorite lobbyists. As the reasoning went, taxpayers would only squander that money, probably by doing something foolish like saving it. In the healthcare debate, liberals have opposed allowing interstate competition because they seem to believe that the American people are too stupid to comparison shop. That would come as news to anyone who's ever purchased an airline ticket online. And in Congress's proposed cap-and-trade legislation, the feds even go so far as proposing to regulate what kind of jacuzzis Americans can buy. That sound you hear is Milton Friedman rolling over in his grave. Every day, it seems like the administration digs its hands deeper into the minutia of everyday life. Recently, the First Lady has gone on a crusade against childhood obesity, even claiming that some urban centers represent food deserts, where there is not enough choice for consumers. It takes some real audacity to blame Americans for being too fat and then claim that the problem is that they don't have enough food to choose from. Here are a few recommendations for our school marm friends in Washington. Before you even think about telling us what to feed our kids, why don't you make sure that their schools aren't failing them? Before you tell us that we can't be trusted to spend our own money wisely, take a crack at earmark reform. And before you presume to tell us that we're not smart enough to make our own decisions, remember that we'll have the chance to prove you wrong on Election Day. That's this week's Freedom Minute.